Good morning. Uh, kind of you finish up one, you go right back on the grind with the next. So again, this week we've got a division conference opponent. Uh, Anytime you play those at home, it's an important game, and certainly Miami's already had a road win in the league. They're 1-0 in the conference, and we're looking up at them. So it's a big game, a chance to get ahead of them in the standings and move up, and not be looking up at more than one person, or one team. So it's a huge game. I think Miami is talented as always. They always have guys that can run. They're very athletic. They got a mix of some returners and some young guys, and they come in here 2-1. They lost at a top 20 team on the road, Kansas State, and won the other two games. So it ought to be a tough game. They've kind of had our number the last couple of years.
Speaking of that, Coach, what have they done the last 3 years? After your first year, you guys had your way with them. What have they done? Anything specific over the last several games?
Just a combination. I think they played well. We haven't. We haven't gotten off to good starts and got behind. And down there a year ago, we haven't played very well offensively in any of the last couple games. But a year ago, we kind of grinded back and got 14-7. Went on a long 17, 18 play drive. It took forever to get down there, and boom, in the last 50 seconds they scored again, to go up 21-7 at half after they ran the kickoff back a long way. And then we moved it a little bit in the third quarter, got it down there and bogged down. And by the time we got it back and we're down, it was, pretty much in the fourth quarter, and it's 24-7. So you abandon kind of what you do and try to play catch up. So it's important that we get off to a good start.
Defensively, will it be important to stop the run first in this game?
It's always important to stop the run. I think if you do that, it gives you a chance to play good defense. And, if you stop the run and limit big plays, you usually have a chance to get off the field and limit the points. I mean, that's the same every week. Kind of a combination.
Coach, regarding Miami in the last few years, would it be fair to say that their defensive line versus your offensive line, their play has been a big factor in?
It's part of it. It's not just that. It's overall. I mean, they beat us on the perimeter. We haven't read the thing well. We haven't done whatever. I mean, we just haven't played very well.
Coach, I watched the Boston College game and the Kansas State game, and just trying to get a read on what they do. Or they got down against Boston College, came back. Just trying to gauge what they do well right now. They do some things well. They're giving up a lot of points, but
they're scoring 30 points a game. They're doing that well. I think their quarterback's completing about 68% of his throws or something like that, so they do that pretty well. The first game, if you watch the Boston College game, they turned a lot of guys loose. They had some young guys playing, and back side of the backfield, I don't know if they've covered them yet, but they got that corrected the next week, and it's a progress. I mean, don't underestimate the kind of players that they'll have. They'll have as good of players as anybody we play.
It's part of your process to stay even keel, win or lose. These are kids. I mean, it's your approach is an adult approach. These are kids. What's tougher? Making sure that they don't think they're 56-20 better than everybody else, or making sure that they don't think the last 44 seconds of Virginia Tech define who they are?
Well, I don't know. I think you take it each day and you see how the team reacts, and then you go accordingly. I mean, we got off to a good start yesterday. I saw nothing to make me think that they're full of themselves from the last game, and they've bounced back from the first game. Kids are pretty different today. They're resilient. I mean, 2 minutes after the game, they're on the Facebook or on their phones or on something. I mean, they move on. They have a lot of distractions. So, to this point, I think that they've handled it well. Now, how we'll do Saturday remains to be seen, or the rest of the week in practice. But it's our job to kind of keep them grounded.
if you can win this game, then you would be looking up at no more than one team in your division. Clemson, Florida State plan are the only two remaining undefeated overall teams in the
Right.
conference already this early in the season. Any conclusions? What does that mean for where the league is right now?
Don't have any. It doesn't mean anything to me. Conclusion wise, I mean, I don't know.
You've had a lot of ins and outs injury-wise at the B-back position. How do things sit right now with that position?
Zach Lasky, I think, will be able to play. We get David Sims back. So you've got Zach, David, Broderick Snoddy, and Matt Connors. So you got 4 guys. Charles is out with he's hurt, so he won't be available.
Could you elaborate more on Charles' condition and if you expect him back?
He's got
this
an
season?
upper body injury. Yeah, upper extremity. And do I expect him back? Not anytime soon.
This season?
We'll see. It's not anytime soon right now. I don't expect him back.
Coach, you talked about how it's the job of the coaches to keep the players grounded. Is it easier to keep them grounded when you're getting ready to play somebody who kind of handled you or against whom you played poorly last year, kind of like Virginia last week?
Well, I mean, you're early in the season. Well, I don't know why they wouldn't be grounded. We haven't done anything. We're 1-1 in the league. You haven't done anything, so there's nothing not to be grounded about. So, I mean, they can look at the tape and see we can play better than we played Saturday. I hope they can look at it and see that. I sure can.
Coach, third week in a row, the defense is really seemingly playing really well. Without Julian, who has stepped up as kind of the leader of that team? Is that more than one guy? Is it a couple guys?
I think it's a couple guys. Quayshawn Neely's played well. He kind of gets everybody where they need to go. Jamia Thomas has played really solid. They've all contributed. T.J. Barnes has played well. He's played a lot of snaps, but he's played well. And, for the most part, other than take away the fourth quarter at Virginia Tech, they've played really well.
Coach, about Zach Lasky, what did you see in him in high school that made you want to, recruit him? And
He was a good player. I thought he was one of the best players in the state. I mean, he led his team to the state championship game, and every time you watched him play, he just made plays. He rushed for 150 yards a game playing at Stars Mill, and returned punts, and he was kind of the guy that did everything for them. And it's like I said all the time, we try not to get too hung up on rankings and combine warriors and all those guys, because you still got to play the game. And when you turn the tape on and watch him play the game, he was a good player.
were you a little surprised that there wasn't more competition for him?
Not really. I was glad. I mean, I don't worry about that. We don't recruit guys because somebody else recruits them. Half the time, the people that the kids say are recruiting them aren't recruiting them anyway. So, I mean, you guys just write it anyway. So it's like, we'll have kids who say that we've offered them, I don't even know who they are. So it's like, I think you get a lot more of that than you realize sometimes, because the schools can't comment. So when you call a kid up on the phone, well, who's recruiting you? I could say whoever I wanted. There's no way you're going to check on it.
You said you weren't that surprised. Why? I mean, did you feel like you were kind of getting?
Well,
a
because
feel
he
of it?
didn't. He's not listed in all the quotes. He wasn't the 4-star recruit or the 5-star recruit that everybody talked about. Just for that reason, not because of his ability. I mean, when I watched him play, I thought he was a good player. I actually watched him play. We were recruiting Jeff Green, and we watched him play, and it was pretty clear to me he was pretty good too.
Speaking of Jeff, has he turned some kind of corner as far as his
Well, he
practice?
played better in the last game, so we'll see. I mean, one game does not make turning the corner, so he's got ability, and we'll see if he continues to get better. You'd think he would the more he plays.
Has his practice habits?
He's always
fitting
been
in?
okay in practice. I mean, he's not You know, I mean, he's never not practiced. I mean, he's been okay.
Coach, how the A-backs been doing so far as you know, your rotation wise, like where they are right now?
They've been doing okay. I think that you know, the most any of them played the other night was 35 plays. We've got some depth there as well, and really, you know, as St. John comes along, we don't want to get him in the game more than he played the other night. He did some good things when he was in there. So I think it's, you know, about where we thought it would be.
Regarding your inside linebackers, I don't know if your numbers match the numbers in the media report, but they're leading the team in tackles. Is that an indication of their productivity? I mean, there can be, I guess, kind of good tackles, bad tackles. Are they playing the way you
Well,
want?
I think if you're playing decent on defense, your linebackers should be your leading tacklers. You got real problems when the secondary is the leading tacklers, and you know, the defensive line, we're doing a little more canceling gaps and not as much two gap stuff, and that plays into the linebackers' hands too. So it's you know, and I think they've played well. But you would hope that your inside and outside linebackers are your leading tacklers.
On that same subject, how has Jabari progressed from week to week?
I think he's getting better. He's trying to play more physical, and he's clearly more comfortable in the run game than the passing game. But you know, the more he plays, I think the better he's getting, and the more confidence he has.
Situation with Tevin getting his helmet ripped off in scrums. Have you seen evidence of this elsewhere in the league? Have you expressed concern about this to anybody in the league?
You know, the only thing I said, I asked him what was going on because I got on him about not having his helmet on tight, and he says they're pulling it off. I didn't see anything to make me believe that when I watched the tape. So, but who knows what goes on in the scrum? You know, I mean, we get down there, the kid said it was happening. That's what I went on. We need to find a way to keep it on there. So.
I know you mentioned Fred yesterday. Has there been anything new or any suggest when he might come back, or?
No, he's showing up, getting treatment every morning, wants to play. It's just a question of when he'll get back out there. We'd love to have him back out there. He wants to be back out there. As soon as the medical people turn him loose, we'll get him back and get him going.
Coach, is that first play of the game scripted thing, or is that something you just saw that you were just saw as they lined up, or how was that?
Well, I don't know what scripted means. I mean,
is it something that you
we didn't
had...
write it down anywhere. It's something that I thought that I was going to run the first play if they lined up a certain way. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Okay, guys. Thanks.